So let's talk about 5-MeO-DMT. Within 30 seconds, there will be an onset of almost overwhelming psychedelic effects. You'll be completely absorbed in a complex event characterized by an overload of thoughts and perception, brief collapse of the ego, and loss of the space-time continuum. Relax, breathe regularly, and flow with the experience. That's a pretty good description. And that's a quote out of this pamphlet, which was published by Ken Nelson in 1984. This is actually really the first known information published about smoking toad venom, or 5-MeO-DMT. So in this video, we're going to talk about what 5-MeO is and dispel a few rumors, and also just help you understand how it differs from some of the other psychedelics. First off, it's found in high enough quantity to be consumed for a strong hallucinogenic experience in the venom of the Sonoran desert toad, also known as Bufo alvarius. So sometimes when people are talking about 5-MeO, they'll say smoking bufo or smoking toad venom. It's also found in some seeds and some plants, and has been used in snuffs by South American tribes. So snuffs are basically natural ingredients that get ground up into a powder and then snorted. Until 1984, as far as anyone knows, there was no awareness about 5-MeO-DMT being found in the Sonoran desert toad, which is the only real place in nature that it's in high enough potency to have a full embrace or a full release experience. And so one thing that's really interesting about 5-MeO is that there's no real lineage. This is a very new medicine that we've been exploring really for about 40 years now. And unlike, say ayahuasca, that has a long lineage of hundreds or thousands of years, and psilocybin that's been used all over the world for thousands of years, even traces of LSD being found in various sites around the world and used in traditions and rituals for a long, long time. 5-MeO is new, and for us that's interesting because it allows us to really consider how to use this medicine in a modern context, kind of creating a blank slate for us to then create ritual and ceremony around. 5-MeO-DMT is also quite unlike a lot of the other psychedelics, though it is in the tryptamine class of psychedelics, which means it's in the same class of drugs as psilocybin, LSD, ayahuasca, NN-DMT, and a whole bunch of others. So it's in the same class of drugs as most traditional psychedelics, but the experience itself is very different. First of all, for the most part, people consume it by vaporizing it and smoking it. And when you do that, the experience is very, very acute. So basically an onset of 10 seconds or so, a peak for a few minutes, and then a very quick period where it basically dissipates and you return back to baseline. So the dose, a single dose of 5-MeO can last anywhere from about 10 to about 30 minutes. So as far as the psychedelics go, it's pretty much one of the fastest out there, besides maybe DMT, NN-DMT. And we have another video that talks about the differences between 5-MeO-DMT and NN-DMT, because they're actually totally different medicines. People also consume it by snorting it, and in that case it's usually about a 30 to 40 minute experience, and it can also be used as an intramuscular application, meaning a needle in the arm, like into the muscle of the arm. That experience is anywhere from 40 or 45 minutes or something like that. The other thing that's interesting about 5-MeO is that there's really not a visual component to it. Some people experience some visuals and colors or fractaling, but for the most part, 5-MeO is a felt experience. It's really a somatic process that happens in the body. Now, as you come back, there's often messages and downloads and very clear sort of, I don't know if it's like specific words or things like that, but there can be clear messages, but there's not a visual component. It's not like the other psychedelics where you're in these very visual landscapes and experiencing all these different entities and memories and things like that. It's very, very clear and very, very direct. 5-MeO-DMT is also the strongest psychedelic on the planet. It's about 5 to 8 times stronger than DMT, and just tremendously stronger than psilocybin or other substances of that nature. So when dosing, it's dosed at a very, very low range. So really, 5-MeO-DMT is a beautiful medicine, and I think it's really incredible for having deep insights and for deep clearing. But it's also, because it's so powerful, it's important to know that it may or may not be the right medicine for you at this time. It's really important to just understand where you're at and if this type of experience is right for you. So we've got a ton of other content to help you think that through.